Hello and welcome back to Green Money Momentum. And y'all, street is open, Texans. The New York Stock Exchange has officially opened for business in Texas, revealing its first listing as Trump Media and Technology Group. So it looks like Trump Media and Technology is the first stock on the New York Stock Exchange in Texas. And so we're going to talk all about what that means today, as well as do our technical analysis of DJT. But I want to say, of course, as always, that this is not financial advice, and I always recommend doing your own due diligence before making any financial decisions. So let's get into it. And so with that being said, starting out with the news, yes, the New York Stock Exchange has officially opened for business in Dallas. And the first stock that is announced on the stock exchange is DJT. So now DJT is on the New York Stock Exchange in New York, Texas, and they are still part of a NASDAQ. So this may seem a little bit confusing to some investors, understandably so. So I'm going to pull up my best friend ChatGPT to give us a little bit more of a simple explanation on this. And so I asked, what does this mean? And it said, realistically, it doesn't change much for investors or trading mechanics. This is mostly just a symbolic and strategic move by the New York Stock Exchange. And so there's no new trading floor. It's just a new corporate location in Dallas. Previously, this was the New York Stock Exchange in Chicago, but now this is in Texas. And so the reason why they did this is, using Texas, it's a pro-business image. And also they are going to have to compete next year with the new stock exchange, which is coming, which is the Texas Stock Exchange. And so this is coming in January of 2026. And this new stock exchange could take away listings from the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ. So this is a big move by the New York Stock Exchange, just getting them out in front of the future competition that is set to start next year in January. And so at first, this may seem like a nothing burger, as basically everything on the New York Stock Exchange for Dallas is going to be the same stock exchange in New York. But what is positive about this is taking a stock exchange from a liberal state, being Illinois. The only place where the stock exchange headquarters are in New York and Illinois, so both Democratic states. And this is putting it in the Republican state and the pro-business state of Texas. And so what I could see coming over the next couple years, 5-10 years, is that Texas as an economy is going to continue to grow, especially with the moves of the New York Stock Exchange now being in Dallas, and then the news of the Texas Stock Exchange starting in next January. So it looks like overall Texas is going to see a big boom within their economy. So not only is Trump bringing the New York Stock Exchange to Texas, but he's also throwing us more into the mass adoption into cryptocurrency as well. And so we have talked about this all year with this channel. We have talked about the strategic reserve with Bitcoin and just how pro-crypto Trump is. If you didn't know, the stock was pushing up earlier this week because they did have a major crypto ETF deal. And so they are in talks with crypto.com to release some highly anticipated crypto ETFs, some freedom ETFs, and a Bitcoin ETF, all that. So Trump is bringing us more into the mass adoption into cryptocurrency. And the stock did see a nice pop from this news. So the stock did go up to $22, but we have seen a bit of a retraction since then. But I want to encourage investors to remember that this isn't necessarily anything negative with the company, but the overall markets in general have been bleeding. So macroeconomics haven't been the best, and we have been facing the three-headed dragon when it comes to fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and that is interest rates, inflation, and then also tariffs. And so currently the market is a little shaky because of what we have coming up on April 2nd, and that is the highly anticipated tariffs with Trump's Liberation Day. And so right now, just finishing off in March, going into that big event with the tariffs, the overall markets just have been feeling a lot of uncertainty. And so macroeconomic trends have kept us down. But what I want to also encourage investors to remember with DJT is that right now the stock is looking a bit oversold, and there is a lot of intrinsic value growing within this company. And so they recently did have their big announcement being added to Roku television, and then also this big announcement of the crypto ETFs. And so with all that, the company is gaining intrinsic value. And when we just look at the chart, we could see that we are on some oversold territory. So let me get myself off screen here. We could see that on the top here, I have some lines drawn out for support on DJT. And for the most part in the last year, we have traded above this support. So the only time we fell below this before most recently was right before the elections. We saw some dipping, but we skyrocketed back up into the 50s. We saw some halting and manipulation. We were stuck in a sideways channel, and then we have been retracting since that point. So we have been in a downwards trend in DJT, but we are looking oversold on the MACD, on the RSI, and then again, we are below the major support lines in DJT. So I consider the major support in DJT to be right around $21 to $27, and that's the level I want to return for in DJT. I think overall what we have seen with these tariffs for the most part is they haven't been as bad as many investors were anticipating. So the fear, uncertainty, and doubt around tariffs have been worse than the tariffs themselves. And so for myself, I am not too concerned about these tariffs. And with each wave of tariffs, we have seen them get rolled back. So they weren't as extreme as Trump would initially claim. Each time going into them, they have been tailored back some. And then also it has been positive that with each set of tariffs, we have also seen big investments into the US. So recently in March, there was a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt around tariffs, around the auto tariffs, but we saw that encouraged another investment into the U.S. So Hyundai is going to invest $20 billion into U.S. manufacturing. So that is a positive. Hyundai is going to bring more jobs into the U.S. And just the month before that, we saw that Apple is talking about a $500 billion investment into the U.S., including an AI server factory in Texas. So just like we were talking about, Texas is growing. And the month before that, we saw the big $500 billion investment into AI with Stargate. And talking about the tariffs, if the tariffs on April 2nd aren't as bad as many investors are expecting, we could see an overall flip in market sentiment, especially around the tariffs. And so if there is a flip in market sentiment around the tariffs and just the overall market starts to pump, we could see a lot of volume go into DJT, as a lot of investors are going to start looking at DJT and they are going to be thinking that DJT is who saved the economy with the tariffs. We know with this stock, even though I believe in it, with the intrinsic value, all the crypto deals, the Roku deals, all that, a lot of investors only look at this as a meme stock opportunity. If that does end up being the case, I believe now is the best time to invest, as when we look at the DJT Reddit mentions, we are at a low. So the overall market sentiment isn't good. But again, if there is a flip and it is because of the president, we could see an absolutely massive pop in this stock. So currently, I do think that DJT is oversold. Myself, I am investing because of the intrinsic value that I believe is behind the company, but there is also that meme stock opportunity. And so overall, I'm very positive on this play. I would love to hear what everyone else has to say about it in the comments section below. So please drop a comment on what you think about DJT. Please leave a like and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video.